In the interest of time, it is now 5:01. I'm going to call this meeting to order. September 21st, 2020. This is a special Board of Education meeting. We are virtual. It is now 5:01 p.m. As permitted by Governor Pritzker's executive orders 2020-07 and 2020-33, the Oak Park River Forest High School Board of Education, Cook County, Illinois, will convene a remote special board meeting on September 21st, 2020 via Zoom. Board members, citizens, and staff may participate in the meeting with the information below. It's on our website. The state of Illinois continues to operate under disaster declaration related to the COVID-19 worldwide pandemic. Our school buildings have been closed since March 13th, 2020, with very limited access by only employees who are performing essential duties. The health department continues to advise the community to practice social distancing, wear face masks, and avoid unnecessary contact with others. Based on the current public health concerns, I, Sarah Spivey, as head of the public body, do not believe that it is either practical or prudent to hold an in-person meeting of the Board of Education on September 21st, 2020. I further believe that it's neither practical nor prudent for the public to be present at the public body's regular meeting location. We will continue to hold a remote meeting with updated practices to comply with Public Act 101-640 that was signed by Governor Pritzker on June 12, 2020. Pursuant to Public Act 101-640, since the meeting cannot be conducted at the regular physical location due to the health crisis, alternative arrangements have been made to allow interested members of the public to hear all discussion, testimony, and roll call votes. Gail, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Kofsky?
Here.
Dr. Moore?
Here.
Mr. Barron?
I'm here.
Mr. Isley, to be arrived? Not yet. Mr. Martiri?
Here.
Ms. Harris?
Here.
And Ms. Dixon-Spivey?
Here. Our first item tonight is public comments. Gail, I believe there are some. Is that correct?
Yes.
If
The
you
first
could please
one.
start.
Yes. The first one is from Misty Olson. As many schools are creating and implementing return to school plans, I believe it is time for OPRF to do the same. I think many in the community would agree that waiting for a vaccine or getting our positivity rate to 0 are both unrealistic goals to return to school. District 90 has created an outstanding process with a fantastically diverse group of stakeholders to help guide thinking around a return to school plan. It appears that Lincoln Township, Hinsdale, and Plainfield are also starting to consider a framework. There are also many schools that have been successful thus far in implementing their hybrid plans. Many are also thinking outside of the box, including a LaGrange virologist is working with District 102 to pilot a saliva test, which I believe has been offered to OPRF, or at least an invitation to discuss. As you well know, online learning is no substitute for in-person learning and is working against OPRF's goal of closing the education gap. While e-learning is better than last spring, we are still being told that there will be an education loss from prior years. It seems that with the right panel of stakeholders who plan to return to various levels of in-person learning could be outlined with corresponding goals metrics. By looking at current positivity rates combined with those of antibodies, it seems as if there could be a staged return focusing on our most vulnerable students, followed by classes that require more hands-on learning, science labs, etc., followed by the freshmen. In addition, having metrics or goals to return to the classroom could go for a long way to motivate students and adults to limit risky behavior that may be contributing to the overall positivity rate. With no return to school in the sight, the loss of everything else, kids are pushing the limits to have the social interaction they are craving. Okay, from Flo Schumacher. Please do not approve any agreements that prevent teachers from doing in-person and remote learning. Any provision to this effect would decimate any efforts to shift to a blended learning plan. It appears this approach has already derailed efforts to provide in-person learning to your special education team students. Please do not turn District 200's vow to protect these vulnerable students into an empty promise. Of course, a fully online option would still be required, but I'm confident a solution could be found either with our in-house team or leveraging outside resources to help teachers manage. We are so unique in that our plan really only has to work for one school. We are not trying to come up with a plan for multiple high schools, middle, or elementary schools with multiple buildings. If we truly believe our motto of those things that are best, OPRF should be leading the way in innovative thinking using data science and our amazing community resources to devise a plan to get our kids back into the classroom as quickly and safely as possible. In closing, I would like to urge you to look at the framework of the District 90 advisory panel, including the diversity of their stakeholders, the timeliness of their meetings and designated due date, and overall transparency of their communications as a guide for what OPRF can and should be doing to help prepare for the future. From Jerry Dombrowski, she's asking the following questions. What is the specific plan to get the students physically back in school? Other schools have tried it and have succeeded. What is the excuse now? Why does the board continue to meet via Zoom? You've cleared the school out of all human inhabitants, so you can probably distance all you want. Please detail the present cost overruns for phase 1 and why those costs continue to rise. Have there been any layoffs, furloughs, or pay cuts for any District 200 employees? If not, how do you justify this? From Meg Sullivan. With regards to how OPRF is handling the following with regards to COVID. 1, current school time for students. 2, level of maturity, professionalism being taught / instilled. 3, plan of action and moving forward. And 4, communication with caretakers of students. Question 1, why are these school days and support starting so late and ending so early? Why not still the 8:20 a.m. first class time and the actual instruction end time is 3 p.m.? What kind of rigor is OPRF giving their students when you do not set them up with the real world standards? Question 2, would it be possible for teachers to take attendance in Zoom checking such for their students? I realize it may seem silly, but it is getting our students in accordance with normal life regularity and what is to come in the future real world, especially if we expect these older children to grow into young adults. Question 3, regardless of the fact that OPRF-HS is late in the game, can we, your patrons, ask you to come up with an ongoing plan for the future, similar to what the above grade school is doing? Question 4, can the OPRF High School Board meet about all COVID concerns, circumstances, and communicate to their tax-paying patrons the results, current findings, data results, short-term decisions, plans as a result, next steps, planned meeting dates? From Ross Lazzuzo. Dear Board of Education, you have shared your passion statement for the tennis program in the past. Thus, I wanted to provide you a quick update on the girls' fall tennis season in the off chance you were unaware. 77 young women, student athletes, went out for girls' tennis. 38 athletes were cut, and space limitations were cited as a major factor for such cuts. Surely COVID played a part in the reduced numbers, but I have come to understand that roughly 16 students were denied an opportunity to make the team due to our on-campus courts not being available. For context, over the past 18 years, yes, years, about 10 girls total have been cut from tennis for safety reasons. This single season, 38 young women athletes lost a chance to participate. Due to COVID, the only IHSA sport that can be played outside on our own OPRFHS West Field and tennis court footprint this fall is girls tennis. Over the past few months, and likely right now, while we are all at this virtual meeting, a few cars, a pickup truck, and a trailer sits on half of the courts. While those few vehicles are parked there, the entire grassy West Field is wide open. The West Field is not being used by softball, baseball, or football, as those sports are not in session this fall per the IHSA rules. I encourage you to walk by the school on any given day and look around. Most disappointing is the fact that roughly 38 young women athletes lost an opportunity to be active outside with other students during COVID. Instead of exercising and connecting with the school and other classmates on campus for a few hours a day, more students will likely remain at home, connecting with more screens and social media. Instead of wanting to help find a better outcome for a group of students under COVID, I witnessed our school aggressively push back, dig in deeper, and get the parking lot and staging area they desired for the imagined construction work. Folks in the community were denied a conversation with the school and the construction company together to see if there was an alternative solution to better serve our students. As our own OPRF studies state, students who participate in just one activity at OPRF have a weighted GPA of 3.59. Students who don't participate in any activity at OPRF have a weighted GPA of 2.97. So as you can see, this is not about tennis. It's about 16 actual OPRF students. It's about a fair process where community members were asked questions. Maybe their tennis interests were just not your cup of tea, but isn't that what we preach? That every student is different and should be treated with dignity and are given a fair chance to reach their full potential, no matter their interests. In this case, grade point averages and tennis team sports did not meet the threshold for anybody with the administration or the board to genuinely get involved. It is not lost on me that sports may not sound too vital considering the current state of the world. However, playing tennis, being with friends, feeling connected, and GPAs were important to these 16 kids and to the 16 OPRF families. I can't think of a more important time to try to help students feel connected as OPRF. And
Gail, we're well over 3 minutes. Is this, do you have just a little bit more? Or is there
A little bit
significantly more to this comment?
just a little bit more. All our school had to do was listen. Actually listening and wanting to help could have lifted the spirits of the 16 athletes. As parents, many of us are trying to have a simple win here, and while these kids are e-learning, opportunity lost. Go Huskies. Now, from Katie Jacob. I'm the parent of a District 200 freshman. I implore D200 to communicate to parents and students the plan for phased-in reopening of OPRF. To date, 6 months into the pandemic, we have seen no plan for return, even if it would mean students would only be in the building 1 day a week. This is as similar districts are planning phased-in approaches as early as October 1st, and as schools in our community, Fenwick and Trinity, meet in person. Other schools and districts are being very upfront about their plans and all of the strategies that the schools and districts are making to ensure a return. To date, D200, I as a parent, do not know if the district plan actually calls for a return or not. No one wants nor expects 3,400 students to be in the building at a time. But so far, we have only been told the vaccine will be necessary for a return. A vaccine will not be available for months or even years, and children under 16 will be last to receive it. It will be akin to a seasonal flu vaccine with an expected efficacy rate of about 60%. Even regarding the vaccine, District 200 has not told us what its plan is. Will it be mandatory for return? Will the district subsidize the cost? In the meantime, science tells us that the best recourse against this virus is masking, HVAC upgrades, and testing. Masking is extremely effective, and testing is essential to enable the community to isolate infected persons. OPRF is undergoing a massive improvement plan. Does this include ventilation upgrades? I have heard that the district has been unresponsive to a generous request to meet and discuss ways to regularly test students and staff. This is anti-ethical to everyone that we know about how to defeat the virus if true. A lack of testing and masking led the country to this point. Unfortunately, COVID-19 is here to stay. Our district has a large surplus, and it is unacceptable for adolescents to be asked to spend years of their high school experience completely alone and isolated. Please present the community with your plan for return. From Nicole Laudadio. Laudadio. I have 2 students at OPRF, a freshman and a junior. I would like to know, what are the plans for adapting into a hybrid version? As so many schools have done rotating days and hours in order to have fewer people in the building at the same time. Also, the protocols that would be needed in order to facilitate a hybrid schedule. Is OPRF looking at other schools that have been successful thus far, be it locally or nationally, to study some of the methods? And the more immediate question is how to adapt the current curriculum to make that more successful for each student. It seems like many students are not happy with how things are going and most likely are not learning what they need to be in order to complete the year. This is a difficult time for all of us, and I appreciate your efforts. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Gail. And I was remiss in not mentioning before public comment that public comment is really not meant to be a discussion with the board, but that any questions that are asked during public comment, we will respond to within 1 to 2 weeks time. All right, our next item is closed session. I move to enter closed session for the purpose of discussing collective negotiating matters between the district and its employees or their representatives or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees. Is there a second?
Second.
Could we have a roll call, Gail?
Dr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Barron,
Yes.
Mr. Isley,
Yes.
Mr. Martiri,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Kofsky,
Yes.
and Ms. Dixon-Spivey.
Yes, and everyone should have a link to the closed session meeting in their emails. So I will see you there momentarily. Thank you. And then we'll come back to open session to close out.
Second.
Do we have a quorum? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, we do. So I move to adjourn open session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, I'll see you guys on
That was fast.
Thursday.
Yeah.